Hey, everybody. So happy Sunday. I hope you guys are all having a great day. Um, so, as many of you guys know, I am a board certified functional medicine practitioner through the Institute of Functional Medicine. I'm super proud to be a part of this prestigious organization and being certified through them, as the trainings were reputable, comprehensive, and elaborate. Having said that, while many teachings were theoretical, there were so much anecdotal treatment options given that were shared during my training, which I appreciated so much. And as a IFM certified practitioner, it didn't necessarily provide me with practical tools to make headway in efficiently treating my patients right off the bat. Everything was super complex when I first learned everything about the functional medicine and how to approach it, as we were required to learn the smallest details of pathological and healthy ways of our complex human body, system by system. I simply didn't know where to start with my patients. And really, because I started this path because to help myself, I really wanted to know where I can start. So at the end of the day, we were taught, when in doubt, start with the gut. And so in the beginning, I was all about the gut and really, really getting your gut in check. And that's where I started as as I was treating myself as my own first patient. So one thing you have to know about me is that I love learning. I consider myself a professional student for life. However, I found that looking to the small details of pathology without addressing the big picture will likely fail the patients. And I realized I was doing just that. And I realized that it was happening amongst all functional medicine colleagues. The patients would get some results in the beginning, and then they would just shop around and different solutions to practitioners. And I see this being played out in the field of functional medicine, holistic disciplines, where we're failing the patients that we serve because of this. And I feel strongly that it's because we dive into our expertise of digging deep into the pathology without addressing the big picture, because we all want to focus on what we know, what I know to help my patient. So, as a physical therapist, I would be trained a certain way, and I would, whenever I learned a new technique as a new grad, that's how I would see my patients, as the new technique, and then I would want to apply the new technique to that patient for a while until I mastered it. I would learn another technique within the field of physical therapy. Same thing in the nutritional world. I'm a registered dietitian, and whenever I would put and study fatty diets, in the beginning, I didn't realize they were fads. I realized everybody on the internet space had something important to say. And if they were saying it and they were getting the patient's results, then I must listen. And so I was all ears about different things that were coming out, and I would be so busy chasing whatever I needed to chase to get the most bang for the buck for my patients, as well as I was curious. But over time, this also happened in the functional medicine realm. And with so much internet space, like begging for your attention, everybody has a very low barrier to entry to say anything on a blog these days. And so that gives them a platform to share whatever they share. But the problem is, everything is becoming an echo chamber, right? So I often see the treatments involve, every treatment, holistic treatment involves lifestyle adjustments, such as taking supplements, changing your diet altogether, and really eliminating and really going deep into a certain diet. And then there's the exercise part, whether it be mind body exercise like yoga or just exercise in general. And then, of course, meditation has been, being studied long term. But the problem is, when the rubber meets the road, when the patient needs to change the behavior, myself included, when the autoimmunity strikes my life and alters me in ways, I really need to be held accountability. I'm sorry. I really need to be held with accountability, and I need the support, and I need ongoing support. and I need to be able to feel connected in a real way, not just do a consultation with me and ask me to come back in 3 months and see how things work by giving me like sheets and sheets of what to eat, what supplements to take. And then you lose me for 3 months because for 3 months, I'm left with my own vices. And then I go research on the internet and I realized that was what was happening. No matter what kind of an impact I was making as a functional medicine practitioner over time, if I didn't really hold them accountable and really hold them with a space, with a clear protocol in the beginning to really make them buckle down and understand why it is they're doing what they're doing, and really having a back and forth dialogue in a way that they needed, that was going to be set up for failure. So, in order to change behavior, we must first work on the mindset of our patients. And almost always within that 90-minute consultation, that's almost never conveyed properly or not conveyed enough. Because the person with autoimmunity is so much more than an autoimmune patient, right? An autoimmune patient is also a human being. And we all have thoughts, feelings, past traumas, and ongoing traumas. We all have wounds, emotional wounds, physical wounds, whatever wounds, right? We all have genetic makeup and have a human experience every single day. You put COVID 19 on top of it and all the immorality and all the mixed feelings and all the emotions that's coming to the surface today, it's just a hot mess. That your patient has to sort of toggle and struggle through every single day. So I found that it wasn't doing justice to leave my patient alone because there was not enough understanding about the condition of their body and then the impact that whatever I was putting them on or asked to do was having. And then I also saw that they needed this coaching. And really, you guys, this is really because I needed all of this, right? Because I've gone to various holistic medical doctors, both conventional and in functional medicine and in traditional medicine and in holistic. I've tried just everything under the sun. What was really missing was not that their techniques or tactics didn't work. It's the disconnect between the tactic and the autoimmunity. And really, the most important thing is drawing that back to me. Nobody really asked me what I was going through. Nobody really asked me how many kids I had. Nobody really asked me how my marriage was. Nobody really asked me like what I wake up with every day or what I did or any of that, right? They're just giving you a tactic or a solution or a strategy to try for a given amount of time. And I don't know about you, but if you're super disciplined, I suppose that can work. But I found that if there was no anchoring and there is no alignment with what I was giving them with their core values and with their core connectedness to themselves, then whatever I offered would only be a temporary means that can get them through how many months of treatment. But beyond that, I would lose them again. And so many months would, pass and then they would try another, and then they just keep going like this. And I didn't want to practice that way. So the patient might have a loving family, but like everyone else, struggles with family feud. They have emotional struggles that they deal with, not only from the disease itself or symptoms, but from all the relationships, financial concerns, professional aspirations, and and then all the limits of their ability right now, the gap between where they want to be to where they are, that really makes them feel broken. There's a lot of negotiating, right? Emotionally, mentally, and psychologically. There's a lot going on in the mind of an autoimmune patient. And in the conventional model, many of them are not asked detailed questions about their lives. They're just taken. A typical autoimmune patient is shifted from system to system to system, meaning that they go to an endocrinologist, rheumatologist, gastroenterologist, neurologist, family medicine, like what have you, right? There's nobody that's really overseeing them and seeing them as a human being having a human experience, and then laying that and layering that to their symptoms in a way that's going to provide a whole solution to who they are, first and foremost. No real solutions are offered to keep them striving for health. In fact, health becomes a secondary issue. It becomes more about the symptoms or disease management for these professionals, right? So here we are seeking better ways to manage our disease. I can tell you as a 20-year veteran of living with an autoimmunity that no matter what actions you take, if it's not anchored and aligned with your beliefs, you'll never make lasting changes. I repeat, if whatever you're trying is not anchored and aligned with your beliefs, then you'll never make lasting changes. And I'm not going to stop at changes. I'm going to say lasting transformations. You really need to alter who you are and how you do things and why you do things and really get aligned with the vision you have for yourself of what that health looks like. Okay. So you'll be seeking second, third, fourth opinions and so on. And will begin your circulations as you enter the echo chamber of holistic treatments for autoimmunity because there's plenty of things being said on the internet. After a while, you'll realize, everyone is practically saying the same thing a different way. A treatment from treatment doesn't vary really much. Right? It becomes more about who, how, and what was said. And it becomes more about who you resonate with, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. But again, if you are really being honest with yourselves, health is a journey. It's not something that you can get and grasp in 3 months' time. Doctors will tell us it's an incurable disease. And you have to negotiate all the factual things that you're hearing because they really want you to believe it and because that's what they believe, but you here have another reason, right? Like I fought with my doctors to say I didn't like them telling me, oh, it's an incurable disease, you need to get on steroids and stay on it. I started to really get irritated and angry over time. Because after a while, I realized I don't want somebody dictating how my life will play out. They don't know the prognoses. And I realized over time, my confidence grew as I tried different things. And my methodology started to work. And whatever they were saying were proven wrong. And then it would be dismissed as something being anecdotal. And that's why I loved how functional medicine really does embrace anecdotal evidences because we're all different. We're all searching for solutions in this way. And unfortunately, when you're searching for solutions superficially, like in the tactical based, then your solutions will be almost always ineffective long term. So, this week's blog is about getting to the root of the problem. So, is it really a problem? Is it a different way of looking at the problem? So, this requires you to acknowledge where you are today and bring awareness to the problem at hand. Okay. If you are struggling with autoimmunity, it's almost always not just about the symptoms. If you really look at the overall arching uh, goal or the condition by which you subjected yourself for the last many, many years, there's a lot of improvements that you can be making lifestyle wise. But we get stuck sometimes. We don't know what to change and how to get started, right? So I want you to really, really understand, and this is the absolute truth, you guys. Please, please, please listen. The problem is not outside of you. And the solution to your problem is also not outside of you. You have to switch the way you think and really understand that the problem is within you and the solution is also within you. But you can't find the solution within you in the same state that caused the problem, right? And so you really need to go through this transformative process to understand that the changes needs to occur within you. So the solution needs to start within you. You must start to understand that and get to know you as a human being with human tendencies of thinking, feeling, acting, and creating results in your life. I can tell you, it wasn't until I was able to do this in the last couple of years, 20 years, only last couple of years, I'm able to like really look at what I'm thinking and really exploring that because I realized there were so many beliefs that I held on to that weren't serving me, but I would revert back to that. And then I would see the same thing play out again and again and again. It can be my relationships, professional aspirations, in the way I show up, in my business, in the way I do things. There was no clarity because I never really went deep within to understand what was the source of this thing that kept presenting itself. It was at the core, I was in the center of this all. And it wasn't enough for me to look outside of me to get help because I realized that's so short lived. Unless I can show up differently, no amount of tactics would allow me to change permanently or transform permanently. Because if you don't anchor down and align with your thoughts and emotions, then the actions you'll take will be short lived, like I said. Why do you need to consider this? Because most of us live our lives as if it's happening to us. We forget that life is created by us and we direct our brains to think, feel, and act and create the results that we want to see. So we're not at the mercy of what other people think. We're not at the mercy of what the world is, how the world is playing out right now. We're not at the mercy, even at the mercy of autoimmunity. It's what the circumstances are, and it's how we're going to show up is something that we must determine. And that power is something that we tend to give away. It's not your fault because this is what we're taught from when we were very young. We're taught in school exactly what to think, learn, feel, and know. The career paths that are presented for us right now is usually the ones that are paid for us. Are you going to be a doctor? You're going to be a lawyer? Are you going to be a physical therapist? Are you going to be a registered dietitian? Whatever that might be, it's things that are already done. And so we don't, if it's not paved, then we think it's not the path for us, right? We're not asked to critically think on our own feet and create the solution. But I think we need more of that, especially those of us who are seeking better results in our lives living with autoimmunity. And it wasn't until I had to navigate my own autoimmune condition that our world is highly limited, or that I realized that our world is highly limited by what we think. Simply that. It's if I was limiting my progress. And most of us don't think to manage our mind and emotions. And we look outside of us for answers and, more importantly, validation, right? It's getting worse today because of all the technological advancements that further try to dictate what we think. We don't do deep thinking or sit in silence to read books anymore. We're constantly bombarded with information coming, and it's superficial information. And then that forms our beliefs and opinions and judgments, you guys. It takes a tremendous effort to tune inward and sit in silence without distractions anymore. So, how do you move forward and get clarity from within? This is especially important for you as you live and are on this embarking on your journey, on self-healing journey. You must adopt a big picture approach and get clear about what your goals are. I recommend that you ask better questions for your brain to answer. Start to ask better questions. Your brain has all the wisdom and it can think. It's when you start to really program yourself with limited answers like, oh, I'm broken, autoimmunity is killing me, or autoimmunity is making me sick, or I can't win, or the doctors are whatever, and there's no solution for my problem. When you say that to yourself and you start to believe it, then your brain goes to work validating the very thing that you're thinking. So then what I mean by asking better questions is, how can I show up today? And how can I think the thoughts to create better feelings, to cultivate or trigger better action so that I can rise above and start to feel better? And start to ponder that and sit with those kinds of questions. Open ended questions, that's hard questions, so that your brain can start to think and get you answers on exactly what you need to do and provide you with the solutions of what you ought to do to improve and emerge as a better and create a better version of yourself, as opposed to really thinking and keep thinking this repeated thoughts of dead end answers, because that's what I used to do and I was stuck there for so long. So I want to ask you, what does health look like in your life? Many of you seek to reverse symptoms and disease, but you need to get more specific. When you reverse your symptoms, what does that enable you to be or do and feel? The goal for yourself should be measurable. For example, if you have to have more energy that allows you to work 8 hours a day with minimal fatigue, that's a good goal because it's measurable. 8 hours a day with minimal fatigue. You can totally measure that, right? Or you can go for 15-minute walks 3 times a day or a week without getting exhausted. Well, that's good. 15 minutes, 3 times a day. And that's something you can embrace, right? Or you can go on a vacation on the beach and walk on the beach with your spouse for 30 minutes without getting tired. These are all lofty goals. And then you envision you doing that. And then you can engineer so that you know exactly what you've got to do today to get enough stamina and energy to get to where you want to go. Key is to think better thoughts and ask better questions about your condition. Often you may be riddled with negative thoughts or wake up with feelings of dread. It's important to know that your feelings cause actions or inactions, but more importantly, that thoughts generate our feelings. The problem is that so much of our thoughts and feelings be directed outside of us. We believe that life is happening to us versus us being empowered to create our lives and being a creator of our lives, right? This is the work that we focus on in our autoimmune health transformation. Why our program is so effective is because we know that once we get you shifted within and take your power back, we can then help you to leverage your power to adapt to the tactics such as supplements, diets, exercises, and meditations to help you to heal once and for all. It's no longer you at the mercy of every other tactic and just grabbing things out here without strategically being filled up inside so that you're anchored and aligned with exactly what you're creating. So that's what's so missing in our treatment bases, even in the holistic world today. So whatever we do in our program is truly transformative experience where we provide you with the tools and the power to change the course of your symptoms and boost your health and ultimately transform your life. And it's where I get to hold your hand and answer your questions in real time in a way with accountability and support that you need so that you can get yourself motivated day to day. It's all about when the rubber meets the road, what do you do? Elevating your thinking, asking better questions, and asking more out of you so you can be a transformed and evolved human being that we need to be today, right? So, no matter what, focus on the big picture. No matter what you took away from this, I want you to think about the big picture of what you're wanting to accomplish and get clear about what your specific goals are, and then create the thoughts, feelings, and actions to go achieve your health. All the rest of the stuff, the functional medicine, nitty gritty, and all the things that I know, it'll only be effective if you're whole. Can't do that work for you. I wish I enjoyed doing the superficial things and being the expert of all things and guiding you that way. That's how most of the practitioners are practicing. I know that for me, that's exactly what I didn't want. Another practitioner who's going to pay me lip service and really tell me theoretically how to climb Mount Everest when they've never been on. They don't know what it's like to be gripping with fear on Mount Everest because you're so fearful of falling, but they have no idea. So, what I can offer you is that I know the path. I've been on the rocky journey and I've really experienced all the fears, struggles, and I've gone through all the seeking of the answers from all these experts. And I've been confused, whirlwind, following every single tactic that came my way. Really studied them, applied them, and realized unless I was anchored and aligned and with true to the core of my core values, nothing I did made any real lasting impact. And because your health is your own to create, our autoimmunity isn't happening to us. That's the shift you've got to make. We create what impact it'll have in our lives. So, if you're listening to me, then I know that you too believe that autoimmunity is a catalyst to be the healthier and better version of you, and we live with that in mind. And we are the group and the tribe of Autoimmune Health Rebels. Our free Facebook group is available to you. And that's what we perpetuate and that's what we promote in every way in that group. So I really, really ask that you join me there and really keep that in mind. Don't give your power away. You can do this. I'm here for you. And I'll be showing up every week to provide you. And, honestly, if you're whole, you're going to be so much better off and you can deliver and you can be showing up as your best self, as a mom, as a sister, as a wife, as a friend, as a professional to serve and do what you're asked to do and leave your legacy in that way. I want you guys to think big, aim big, because you can accomplish anything you set your mind to, and never forget and never give your power away. Please, please, please start with you and let's make you whole. We're on this journey together. And again, I'm here every step of the way. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. And if you did, would love it and appreciate it if you guys can leave me the iTunes review. And with that, I'll see you guys all next week. Thank you.